Hey, so a girl at my friend's school in 11th grade was in biology class and she decided that it would be funny to stick a test tube up her hoo-ha. She had a skirt on, so it wasn't that hard to get it in there. It was in there, but her teacher was walking around the class and he was close to her, so she quickly closed her legs and the glass test tube shattered inside of her. She screamed and had to tell the male teacher what she had just done. She had to go to the hospital to get the shards of glass removed from her, and then she had to transfer schools because everyone knew what she did.
More of a confession, but in 7th grade I had a really hot social studies teacher and I thought we could date most days of the week. I would sneak into his classroom during his lunch and leave him love letters. Some of them got pretty weird, but anyways, a month and a half into me doing this I probably gave him 25 letters. I got a note telling me I was to go to aftercare when school was over. This was kinda normal to me, but usually my mom told me beforehand. Anyways, I go to aftercare, but it's a room with the assistant principal, my parents, the counselor, and the teacher I was sending the love letters to. I got so embarrassed and started crying and was a mess. They told me I were to be placed into another class and meet with the counselor anytime I felt a certain way. The teacher also gave my parents all the letters, and they told me the reason I got caught was because they looked through the security cameras. I was too embarrassed to ever see his face again, so I just transferred schools.
In 5th grade I had a big fear of lockdown drills and I had to see a therapist because it was that fucking bad, and the therapist asked me, when you're in the lockdown drill, what movie do you see in your head? And I didn't really understand the question, so I said Inside Out.
When I was in 10th grade, my entire class went on a camping trip to Joshua Tree for a week. The bathrooms were like normal park bathrooms with cesspools at the bottom of them, so they smelled really bad, but we were camping so it wasn't a big deal. Then at the end of the week our teachers told all of the girls to come to our side of the campsite for an emergency meeting and that boys weren't allowed to come. They told us that one of the teachers had discovered a week's worth of shit on a rock hidden behind the girls' side of the campsite. They had empty bread bags and gloves and told the people who did it to come up in front of everyone to get materials to go clean up their own shit. It ended up being a group of the popular and rich girls who shit on the rock. All of the girls had to stay on the campsite until they cleaned all of it up, and I remember seeing those bitches carrying their own shit in clear plastic bags. It was the funniest thing I have ever seen.
So when I was little, my mom took me and my brother to the local pool. I was 12, he was 4. So while my mom and I sunbathed, he played in the kiddie pool. When all of a sudden he comes up to us and says, "Mommy, I gotta go pee-pee." And instead of taking him to the bathroom, my mom said, "Go pee-pee in the pool." Shame on you, Carol Ann. We continued to lay out in the sun until all of a sudden we hear everyone scream, "Oh my God, some kid's peeing in the kiddie pool." Torian didn't understand, and he went over to the kiddie pool, pulled down his pants, and pee-peed like he was peeing in the toilet. But my mom is clever, and she pretended like she didn't know whose kid it was. And we never went back to that pool again.
So basically in grade 7 I was in class sitting in my chair doing math until I had felt a weird feeling down there. I went to the washroom and when I looked I had gotten my first period, but luckily I had a pad on because I was prepared and everything was fine. When I got back to class, this Chelsea ass Rumpelstiltskin pickle chin Silverton Shane Dawson Godson chopstick legs built like an ice cream cone, chapped lips, hairy body ass bitch, teeth yellower than the sun, stank breath looking ass bitch asked me why I had strawberry sauce on my ass because I leaked through the pad without realizing. The whole class started laughing, and then from there on this bitch picked on me, calling me Bloody Mary for the rest of the year, and I was done with it. Child anyways, so I decided to get revenge. At the time my dad smoked, so I decided to take one of his cigarettes, sneak it into her backpack, and then report it to my principal. She was expelled. She got what she motherfucking deserved with her toe fungus body odor and grown toenail doo-doo smelling ass. One day there was a daddy-daughter dance at school for all the girls, so of course I went, but when I got there they had at least like 8 long tables filled with food, and I pretty much forgot about the fact that we were at a nice dance, not an all-you-can-eat buffet, so of course I ate like 5 donuts, and then I found my friend Caitlin. We literally ransacked all the food and took it to a corner in the school and left our dads behind, and we heard the slow dance start to play, so while everyone was having a nice dance with their dads, Caitlin and I were in the corner getting fat, and then a stinky winky binky pinkity drinkity annoying snoring and overall boring lady comes up to us and yells at us to get out of the corner and dance. Like, excuse me fatty patty, sit down, let me eat like the pig I am. So we moved to a different spot and continued eating, and then our dads couldn't find us for like 30 minutes, and when they found us they made us come out and dance. Meanwhile we had chocolate all over our faces like it looked like we just went for a dip in the mud. And if you guys want to see the video of us from the daddy-daughter dance in kindergarten, let me know. Chile anyways. When I was 5, I stole a littlest pet shop from ShopRite. It happened to be a fish. I didn't like that the color was plain white, so I threw a fit. Then I had a brilliant idea to change the color. I left it in blueberry yogurt for 2 weeks, and my family had been complaining about a terrible smell, and to be honest, I forgot about that littlest pet shop for a few weeks, but the smell in the house was horrendous and we had to air out the house to try to get rid of the stench. But when I went to go look for some shampoo one night, I found my littlest pet shop and was so happy with the results, and to this day my family does not know it was me.
Since you guys apparently like therapy stories, here's another one. Right, cat face. My therapist called me because I hadn't spoken to her in weeks and she was worried. She asked me how I was and I started crying because I'm a dumb bitch. She got even more concerned and she asked me if I had eaten today because I have an eating disorder, and I started crying more and peace signing because I'm an awkward bisexual. She asked me how my depression was doing when I wouldn't answer her other question, and because I forgot she was my therapist and I have dark humor, I said my arms and legs look like a zebra. I thought she would laugh, but she didn't, so I hung up and laughed for half an hour straight because I think I'm hilarious.
One time when I was like 7, I had a friend who low-key abused me. Happy cat face. And one day while I was at her house, she said that she wanted to pretend to do the naughty and threatened telling my parents that I knew what sex was, and me being a dumb bitch thought I would get grounded if my parents knew I knew about sex. Anyway, she made me hump her for like 10 minutes and I am kinda traumatized from it. Party face with a party horn, hat, and confetti. XOXO anonymous kiss mark. 7 years, 7 years, 7 years, WTF 7 years old, OMGGGGGGGGG. Okay, so this is my confession. When I was in first grade, my cousin and I lived next door to each other, so we would play together all the time and grew up together well. One day we decided to try to make a potion, as a kid would do, and poison the man next door. We made the potion out of grass, shampoo, and other stuff and put it in our toy cup. We didn't know how to give it to the man, so we just ding-dong ditched and left the cup in front of his door. We did this several times, but he never drank it. A few days later, of it sitting out, he gave us the cup back, full, with a little note saying, "You left this cup at my doorstep, TBH. I don't remember why we wanted to poison him, we just didn't like him. BC he looked kinda sus anyways." My cousin moved further down the street and we obviously don't do it anymore, but the creepy guy still lives next door to my house, face with stuck out tongue and tightly closed eyes. Sparkles. So yay. That was the time my cousin and I tried to commit murder, kissing cat face. XOXO anonymous kiss mark. When I was 8 and my little sister was 6, we were having a bath together and there were cups in the bath. I decided to tell her to look away so I could piss in the cup. After I literally peed in a cup, I gave it to her and told her it was apple juice. She said she had no idea. About a week later she told me she saw me piss in a cup and give it to her, so she purposely decided to drink my pee knowing it was not apple juice. Grinning face with normal eyes. I think my sister is a psychopath too. This day. Zoxo anonymous kiss mark. Y'all, I just found out how to make Siri say chiul chiul chiul. No more chili for us, we only know chiul. So one time I was at the mall and I was borrowing things with my cousin and we went to Hot Topic and I got a hoodie and a shirt and she was new to borrowing, so she just got a bunch of pins. We paid for a cheap item not to be suspicious and walked out and everything was fine. We went to the bathroom and unloaded everything into a Journeys bag that we kept from the last trip, and we were walking and we passed by Famous Footwear and we saw my cousin's crush and she begged to go in there. I agreed even though he was heading out of the store. Now we walked in there as he was walking out and her plan was to bump into him, and so she did, but as soon as they bumped she tripped the alarm and she blushed so hard she was so scared that she literally pissed her pants, and she was wearing shorts and flip-flops so you could see the piss. It was so gross, but the whole time it turned out to be her crush that stole shoes, and I was just watching the whole thing from a few feet outside the store. I felt so. Zoxo anonymous kiss mark. I never understood how people could wet themselves like how Wong. When I was in 6th grade, this boy, let's call him Shay, kept picking on me at school, but only tiny things, and I didn't really care. But anyways, I thought I was the baddest bee back then, so to impress my friends I dug my nails, which were quite sharp then, into the back of his neck, and it started bleeding. I went to class and I got pulled out, and they said Shay had been sent to the nurse for it, and I started crying because I didn't want them to call my mom, so I made up an excuse that I didn't mean to hurt him, and I had to apologize to him and his mom after school under supervision. My mom never found out, and I don't regret it because he respects me now. I added this really cute guy from my school on Snapchat my freshman year, and we would only talk on Snap because we were too scared to even look at each other at school. Then came my sophomore year when we finally started talking, and we hung out like 3 times. One of those 3 times we smoked some devil's grass and went to the back of his car. One thing led to another and we were making out, and I swear to God it was like this guy never made out with a girl before. This bitch was so aggressive, but not in the hot way. Like he was almost eating my face, and when he was taking me home and pulled in a parking lot to hold my hand and then started smelling it, and I was just sitting there like WTF. Later found out he was the principal's son, which I DKY, but it was so awkward to see his dad every day at school and him anyways. Later the guy undid me and started dating some girl from another school, and good for him honestly. Zoxo anonymous kiss mark. Girl, the principal's son smelt your hand chili. Anyways. In year 6 this new girl joined my class. It was after lunch and she sat down next to me and asked if I was hungry, and I said no. So she then said, "No, you are hungry," and I said I wasn't, and she completely denied the fact I wasn't hungry, and she started to unzip her bag and she pulled out this massive tub of cheese. It had all kinds of cheeses and I was so confused. She put the plate down and said, "Please help me eat all this cheese. If I don't, bad things will happen to both of us." I was absolutely terrified of this girl and I said I was going to the bathroom. She followed me with her cheese and locked me and her in the same cubicle. She then said, "I will not let you out until you help me eat this." So I went behind her and kicked the back of her knee and she fell, and I unlocked the door. She then grabbed my leg and wouldn't let go and started to cry. I had brought my water bottle with me, so I threw the water all over her and she let go. That bitch was crazy. I never want to experience that again. The next day she left the school and I never saw her again. What the hell?
Hello, so this is my story. One time I was in school, there was this musty, crusty, dusty ass bitch in my class. She was so fucking annoying, so let's name her Emily. So Emily was annoying me so damn much, so I standed up and started beating the shit out of her, and I got expelled, but it was worth it. Ha smirking face. And the iPhone 6 was not really popular anymore. My grandpa was giving me his old iPhone 6 anyways. I was on it later that night, and I tried downloading some games because I was like 7 or 8. Well, the Wi-Fi was really slow, so I thought maybe if I close some tabs it'll download faster. Well, as I'm closing tabs I see Pornhub. Well, at that time I knew what sex was but didn't really understand porn. I click on the tab. Being the dumbass 8-year-old I was, I saw it. I was PPs, vaginas, and all that. I watched it for like an hour straight. Then I closed the tab. I'm older now and still haven't confronted him, grinning face with big eyes. I went to my mom's room after babysitting today and I found a vibrating toy and I used it. I cleaned it first, Kazu, and cleaned it after as well. Hey, so this one time I was with my friend at my house and we were both playing Fortnite on my TV and we both got thirsty and hungry and we both didn't want to get up, so we played rock, paper, scissors to see who had to go get it, and I lost, of course. So I got up and went out there, and I have a window in my living room and I saw old man looking through my window and we both paused and stared at each other and he smiled, and I ran into my room and my mom was at work and she couldn't have her phone. So we called 911 and they came and never found them, so I'm always scared when I'm home alone now. Loudly crying face. Loudly crying face.
In 8th grade there was this male history teacher and female assistant teacher, and everyone in our grade thought they were hooking up, so one day some student from their class left their phone propped up and recorded them making out like this dude was really getting into it, pinning her on the wall and everything. Also, the history teacher was married to another teacher at the school and they have 2 kids together. The students posted the video and over fall break everyone saw it. Both of the teachers quit and now work at 2 different schools, and the history teacher is still happily married to his wife. Zoxo anonymous kiss mark.